been drinking all this lean, I know I need to stop. Hopping out of stolen cars and we shoot chops.
Okay, good morning. Hello everyone there who's watching. Thanks for watching, tuning in. This is Josh at Tryin Tech, and today we are going to be revisiting performance on the Egg NS Switch Emulator for Android, version 2.1.6. Now, if you saw my original video on the GameSir X2 USB-C controller, one of the things I thought was kind of the biggest selling point of this controller, it's a good controller, it's a great controller, I love it, I use it all the time, but one of the, to me, the biggest selling points that was exclusive to this controller is that it had the Egg NS emulator, which only works with this controller and doesn't work with any other controller. So that's kind of a caveat with the emulator itself, is that unless you have this controller and you have the USB-C one, this emulator won't work. And then you also have to be connected online, which is kind of a bummer, especially the online capacity. And I don't really understand that. I don't really know why, because you don't need to be online to check that you're connected to this controller. All right, so not sure why that's still there, but to me the biggest issue that the emulator had at the time of testing, when I tested it before, and I'll link the original review down in the description below, so please check that out. And if you're not already subscribed, I would say please subscribe. All right, it helps out my channel immensely. All right, but yeah, one of the biggest things was compatibility, and the other issue was just performance, and they've really fixed that really ever since 2.0 and up. This is 2.1.6. One of the things they added, I want to say they added this in 2.1.5, was the cloud graphics drivers. 9 times out of 10 I just run it 5.30 beta, and that will usually work with pretty much everything. Okay, and there you see I had the latest version, 2.1.6. The autofocus is not working very well right now. There you go. 2.1.6 is the version. All right, so yeah, but without further ado, we're gonna go on and we're gonna test out some games. I'm gonna test out 5 games here. All of these are exclusive to Switch, as of now, at least in the West. And so we're going to test out 5 of these games. I have 10 actually loaded up here, and all 10 of these games that you see loaded up work great. One thing I just want to get out of the way, this video is just for testing purposes only. Playing backups of games that you do not legally own is illegal, and piracy is illegal. So make sure you're only playing backups of games that you legally own. You will have to either dump your own games or find another way to procure backups of your games. Please do not ask me where to get backups or ROMs of Nintendo Switch games, okay? All right, that out of the way, we're gonna continue on and we're gonna play some games. So I wanna show you the setup I have here for this, for Pokemon Sword. And 9 times out of 10, these settings will work the best. All right, so I have asynchronous GPU on, async shaders experimental turned on. What that does is it allows you to do the shading in real time. So most emulators go for accuracy. So if the shading needs to be done, a lot of times it will slow down or kind of stop rendering to allow the shaders to load. All right, disable texture pre-refresh, enable occlusion query. If you're getting graphical glitches 9 times out of 10, having that on will kind of clear it up. And then enable memory reclaim. All right, and so I'm not exactly sure what that does, but it does help with the memory being used. One of the biggest things that this had, issues that this had with the previous versions of the emulator, is it was just had a huge memory leak or memory hog problem and just eat up your memory. All right, the phone I'm testing with is a OnePlus 8T Pro 5G. It has a Snapdragon 865, the non-plus version, and 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is more than plenty. All right, but the previous versions, even 12 gigs was not enough, and sometimes you had to have up to 16 gigs. At minimum, I would say you're still gonna need a pretty beefy phone, okay? And our focus is screwing up again. Not sure why that's happening. Sorry about that. So autofocus is killing me. Okay, so I'm outside right now. Yesterday when I was playing this was definitely playing a lot slower. There's a lot more slowdowns. But as you can see now that I've kind of ran around in the area and I've had graphical packs or graphics shaders kind of preloaded, I have a cache built up now. A little bit of a graphics glitch there. Prince Leon. Dipping down to 25, 26, but most of the time it's staying at the 30 FPS that it's locked at. Alright, so that seems to be working pretty well. Alright. It was definitely playable. One of the things I noticed with this newer update is that it seems to have, it'll crash initially. Apologize for this. Usually I film with my phone, but for obvious reasons I can't film with my phone. But the autofocus on this for the video on my wife's camera does not always work the best. Okay, CGI is okay. Not sure why that happened. This is Mary Skelter Finale. It is a dungeon crawler game from Idea Factory. One of the things I do wish this emulator had was save state loading, especially with the ability not to suspend in game like the way you are able to with the Switch. Because this game, for example, you have to play through a lot just to get through like the first save point. Alright, so we're in the dungeon right now. And I think the lowest dip I'm seeing here. This is the actual game itself runs at 60 FPS. In battles runs at 30 FPS. I'm not really sure why. But so far it's playing pretty well. So I dipped down to like 45. Most of the time it's hovering pretty much around. This is just explaining the tutorials or kind of like the battle system. If you have played the second game, this plays very similar. It's more just a refinement on the battle system on the second game. Overall, this is an enjoyable dungeon crawler game. The actual dungeons are 3D. In fact, the enemies you fight are 3D too. We're gonna skip. I want to try to trigger a battle. So you could kind of see how it... Okay. So it has this thing where you can zap.
I'm a big sister. I'll do it.
It's got a lot of visual novel elements. Okay, so alright, so now we're in a battle, so now you can kind of see. We're gonna turn on... Oh, I lost the battle. I think I was supposed to. So the battles themselves run at 30 FPS. Okay.
Me? Let's go!
Trying to skip all this. Alright, so we're gonna exit out. Okay, so overall that worked pretty well. I was hoping to show a little bit more battle, but that's okay. But like I said, this a lot of times like it'll crash, especially when switching in between games, and then you just load it again and then it loads fine. This is another game that's locked at 30 FPS. Just like Pokemon Sword. Performance is about the same. I find that this one plays actually a little bit better. Gosh man, this autofocus. Okay, there we go. Autofocus is killing me. We're gonna walk into the grass. There tends to be like a little bit of a slowdown when you get in the grass, but now we've already like played through this area. This is like my third or fourth time playing through this area. I'm gonna take it in battle. So now like I'm really not seeing it like really go, honestly, but not seeing it go below 28, 27 FPS. In battle, it easily plays at 30 FPS. So right there, the FPS is in the corner. This game is kind of a lot more simplistic than the other Pokemon games, but you know, it's enjoyable for what it is. Alright. Yeah, so in the world, like, I'm really not going below like 27, 28 FPS. And then the battles are definitely playing at 30 with really no problems. My kids love this game. They had this game. Let's Go Pikachu. Okay, so that showed a couple battles. Third battle. But that's the cool thing about this emulator is that it uses shader cache. So as you play areas more, the more playable, faster it runs, because instead of having to now render those shaders, now I can just draw from the cache. Actually, I'm gonna save this. Save. Alright, and we exit the game. Okay, so yeah, see that? Like when it switches in between games, the first time it'll crash, and then the second time just open it again and then it works. I don't know why. I'm not sure why that happens. I don't remember the older version doing that. So I'm not really sure why it's doing that. This game runs at 60 FPS. This is Mario 3D World, and this is it's basically a remaster port, Switch port of the Wii U version. Slightly better graphics. This, like, honestly, I don't know. I had this on the Wii U. I don't really remember this being, like, you know, obviously renders at a higher resolution, but graphics wise I think this is about the same. Okay, so we're in world here and we are running Oh, that was the first time I did that without without bouncing the shell around. Alright. This is running between 59 and 60 FPS. This is like, so just for the record, this is like my fourth time, oh no. It's okay, because I'm going to get a fireball. If I don't die. Hey. It slows down to like 47, 48 here, but really does not go below. Killed him. Oh, come on. It does slow down to 45. It's still very much playable. So I would say for 60 FPS games, really what's comfortably playable is, you know, for most people, alright, everyone's experience is different, is I would say probably around 40, 45. You really don't want to go below 45 on a 60 FPS game, to be honest. And then on, you know, 30 FPS games, really 24 or so. Alright, so we're going to exit out of that because I hit the checkpoint. And that's playing really well. Okay, welcome back. So, actually had to stop filming because I was having issues with the final game that I wanted to show you that was freezing up. So, I'm going to actually show you this last game, which is Astral Chain. It does have some freezing issues. I'll tell you basically how to fix those freezing issues, and that is, from what I've been told and what I tried, start a new playthrough with the female protagonist. Okay, apparently if the game's freezing and it starts doing that, just play with the female protagonist. Alright, I don't know what it is, something about playing with the male character causes it to freeze up. Alright, so with that being said, I'm going to do a new playthrough. What's really weird is that I did have a playthrough with the female protagonist and it wasn't freezing, and now it's freezing again. So, and it's probably because I played with the male character and I'm not sure why. So if you haven't played this game, it's an action game made by, it's published by Nintendo, so in that way it's a first party game. But it's made by Platinum Games, same people that made Bayonetta. I'm just gonna go with the default settings.
Doctor, we've just received reports from the police of a confirmed gate opening in Central City.
Turn that down a little bit. This game is locked at 30 FPS, but it plays amazingly. It's to me, one of the best looking games on the Switch, but the issue it suffered with on the Switch hardware is slowdowns, obviously, but it didn't happen very much in the game. But that's what's so cool about playing it on this, is like there's really not hardly any slowdowns, sorry, in gameplay, and it looks amazing. Okay, we're having issues with autofocus again. What is going on?
All officers, ensuring civilian safety is your top priority. If you see any aberrations, take them out and keep the damage from spreading. Repeat. Calling all officers en route to Grand Avenue. Watch out for abandoned vehicles on the highway. The area has been designated red shift.
This autofocus is killing me.
We have approval from the union to use lethal force on any aberrations.
Okay, there we go. A little bit better. Jeez. This autofocus, you can't even tell how good this game actually looks. And I'm playing terribly because I'm more worried about the focus. I kind of wish there was more parts of the game that played like this section, because it is kind of fun, but like the rest of the game doesn't even play like this. Okay. There. Was able to get it focused a little bit more. A little bit better. There we go. That looks much, much better. But as you can see, like, this game looks really good. But yeah, if you're getting the freezes, just start a new playthrough with the female character, and I don't know, until they get it resolved, I would probably not do a playthrough with the male character, because what I noticed is I had a playthrough with the female character and it was working great, everything was fine. I switched over to the male character's save. It was not freezing, but as soon as I stopped playing it, then the freezes happened again. So I don't know, something about it loading a save from the middle of the first area with the male character. So I don't know, I might try something later on. I would honestly like to do some more testing with just this game in general to try to figure out how to fix the freezing issue, or kind of a workaround to it. Okay, so as you can see, it plays really well. Alright, so it's saved there. Alright, so that being said, just in conclusion, overall, other than the freezing issue on Astral Chain, I would say the increase in performance and just the overall increase in compatibility, pretty much every game that's firmware version 11.0.0 are patched for play on 11.0 plays, because Mary Skelter just came out like less than a week ago, and that game plays. It's just a converted version. Converted to work with the firmware 11.00. You know, honestly, the graphics drivers feature, it's cool, I guess, but like I really didn't get too much use out of it. The main thing that was really helpful is now there's per game settings, and being able to set things like the asynchronous GPU shaders really help with performance. So compatibility has definitely gone up a lot on this, and performance has gone through the roof. It's just so much better. There's still a couple games that have some graphical issues. There's still some games that load just nothing. It'll load. You can hear the sound, but some of them are still black screens. So I'm hoping with further updates, like they'll be able to get this kind of worked out. Hoping so. We'll see. But so far, I'm really excited about the gameplay and just how just amazing this is to be able to play Switch games at either full 30 FPS or close to 60 FPS on pretty much most flagship devices within the past year. You'll be able to play them as long as it's got 8 gigs. I would say no lower than a Snapdragon 855. You can play Switch games on your phone, and some of the games play even better than they do on the Switch, which is amazing. I had some games that when I tested them had graphical glitches, like the new Disgaea 6. I hope they get that worked out, because honestly, playing Disgaea 6 on my Switch, it has a lot of slowdowns. If you played that game, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I'm just hoping that they get those issues worked out with the graphical glitches on some of the games. And but yeah, I'm really excited about the progress that the Egg NS emulator developers have made. Really just in a very short period of time, because the last update was back in March, and then in the past month and a half or so, I'd say the past month, they've had like 3 updates come out at least, and it's just been amazing how much progress they've made and the features they've added. So it definitely really adds to the kind of compellingness of buying the USB-C version of the GameSir X2 controller. This is Josh at Tryin' Tech. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give that thumbs up. If you like my videos and you watch them or want to see more content like this, I'm definitely planning to do more Egg NS content and more content on this controller gameplay, as well as PC reviews. Definitely make sure to subscribe to my channel. This is Josh at Tryin' Tech, and I'll see you in the next one. Signing out.
I've been drinking all this lean, I know I need to stop. Hopping out of stolen cars and we shoot chops.